Hey everyone, it's Ivan with kitbadger.com, here to bring you another review, and today talking about this little guy. This is the ADM, American Defense Manufacturing, UIC-10, Universal Improved Carbine. And if we want to get even more specific, this is the 10A Heavy Recon, not to be confused with the 10A battle rifle, which is 14.5 inch barrel, pinned and welded, and it uses a mid-length gas system, whereas this is a 16-inch barrel, not pinned and welded, and it uses a rifle-length gas system. Both of them adjustable. But what is it? It's a big rifle. It's an AR-10 platform. So rather than, if you're relatively new to guns, the AR-15 platform pattern rifles, where basically all of this is just smaller, AR-10 platform, all of this is bigger. Bigger magazine well, bigger bolts, bigger bullets. This one right here being chambered in 308. We'll go ahead and start with the improved portion of the Universal Improved Carbine. So what has ADM done differently? A lot of people making a lot of guns out there, and largely people source different things from different places, and depending on those parts, put them together, you can end up with some really good stuff. So what's been improved on this? Well, ADM actually improved the receiver set. So the way the low receiver works is it's actually ambidextrous. Not, hey, we put an ambi safety on there, which they did, and it's nice. You can manipulate it on both sides, but truly ambidextrous. So we actually don't have to remove our hand from fire control, meaning I can remove the magazine if I need to lock this back. This piece right here, little guy right there. Basically, you press it up, pull the bolt back, and seat the magazine, send the bolt forward, back into battery. Is that important? Well, it's time savings, like legitimate time savings. Does it matter if your paradigm is shooting cardboard at indoor range at 25 yards? Probably not that much. Probably doesn't. It's nice, it's really nice, and your reloads and your malfunction clearing and everything like that, really fast comparatively to a traditional AR setup. But where does that shine? Honestly, for practitioners. If you're in a position where your life and maybe your teammates' lives are reliant on getting a gun back up if it goes dry or you have a malfunction, a little bit of time is pretty important. At the heart of the gun is a 416R stainless barrel by Criterion, black nitride. This one being 16 inches with a rifle length adjustable gas block on there. Enhanced 308 bolt carrier group. Everything about this is turnkey polished. From up here, SureFire Warcomp. You have Magpul MBUS Pro metal, backup iron sights, Magpul stock, grip, your Radian selector, Radian Raptor charging handle. Everything is pretty nice, to include your trigger, which is a Geissele 2-stage national match. Having said all that, what has been my experience with this little rifle? Well, to get time with it, I took it down and shot it in Desert Brutality 2020. 2-day competition. The division I was shooting in, I was basically wearing plate carrier as well as a full loadout every stage. So full loadout to include 4 full magazines, which got heavy really fast. But this rifle did a great job for me down there, and shooting in that competition with this was a ton of fun. I was also using the Contour Sling by Lunar Concepts, and because I have one and I can, I went ahead and threw on a suppressor, my SureFire SOCOM 7.62 Mini. Coming out the other side of that competition, some things were glaringly apparent with this rifle. One, it's a heavy gun. It is. You're like, it's only 8 pounds, 4 ounces, which it is. Not terribly heavy, but that's before you put anything on it. And on top of that, running a full loadout, 308 ammo is really heavy, comparatively. So 4 full mags on top of this, with a can on the end of it, and a relatively heavy optic, definitely added up. It did a really good job for me though. I had no issues with it. I was shooting some Ventura munitions. Stuff did great, functioned flawlessly. I will say, and this is total personal preference, this is a really nice trigger, hands down. Geissele, national match, 2-stage, whatever it is. Really nice. I don't like it personally. It's too light for me personally. In that, what happens, or what happened to me, especially on the first day, kind of my first real block of time using this gun, is come up on target and be like, okay, the shot would break definitely before I had wanted it to break. Reason being, elevated heart rate, wearing gloves, all these things. You're like, okay, cool. All right, there's my target. And it's a 2-stage. So you either just crank that thing back, which I think I eventually ended up doing. But if you're used to something like even the Geissele Super Dynamic Enhanced, really distinct first stage, second stage. This, it's like, okay, I'm taking up slap, bam. You're like, oh man. I mean, in fairness, if we're sitting here and I end up going through, like, okay, first stage right there, nice wall. But then what happens is you're like, ah, damn. Let me send another one after that because that one broke too soon. And that is just sample size of 1, but personally, this trigger is too light for the way I used it. Let's go ahead and talk accuracy for a minute. I ended up taking this out to the range, go shoot some groups. Shot everything at 100 yards, 5-shot groups. Went ahead and put on a Archon Optics 4-16 and gave it my best. Here's what I ended up getting. Starting with some Norma 150 grain full metal jacket. My first group came in at 1.70 MOA. My second group with a flyer came in at 2.30 MOA. Switching over to some Hornady Outfitter 165 grain GMX. First group coming in at 1.72 MOA. Again, never shoot that 5th round. And my next group, all 5 rounds, coming in at 2.06 MOA. Switching over to some Hornady Critical Defense 155 grain FTX. First group came in measuring 1.62 MOA. And my second group came in measuring 2.22 MOA. Switching over to some remanufactured 150 grain full metal jacket from Freedom Munitions. First group coming in at 1.68 MOA. My second group with that remanufactured ammo coming in at 1.46 MOA. Moving on to some Federal Gold Medal Sierra Match King 168 grain. First group coming in at 1.58 MOA. My second group coming in at 1.42 MOA. Is it a laser beam? Not in my hands, it isn't. Honestly, I'm sure this is capable of more. That's what I got out there that day with those different loads. And if we're being real, I'm actually really happy with that. I mean, application. How would you end up using this rifle? And to get across that varied bullet weights, everything like that, pretty much solid 1.5 MOA, less if you throw away some flyers. That's pretty good, I think. especially, again, going back to application. So how are you going to use this gun? 308 is a incredibly capable round. With it, it's also heavy and relatively expensive. So how are you going to use this? If you're going to go hunt feral pigs, this would be the go-to. After spending some time down with Todd Huey, Lone Star Boars, like, yeah, he's a huge fan of 308 for a reason. And this gives you a lot of gun in a relatively small package. I'm not saying this thing's light because we're starting off slick at 8 pounds, 4 ounces, but to be able to have the capability of 308 in this small package, there's definitely something to be said for that. If you need something hard-hitting and capable, or just want, honestly, a pretty fun rifle and your very own workout with loaded magazines and a full loadout, pick one of these guys up. About 2,500 bucks. Is that expensive? I don't know. Probably spend half the money, probably get half the rifle. I think there's a lot of value there. Like, everything about this is well done. It's polished. Really good components, adjustable gas block, the Criterion barrel, trigger, the actual UIC, like their upper lower receiver set. That ambidextrous controls, while it may not be for everyone, if it is for you, there's a lot of value there. If you end up picking one up and have time with it, let me know how it's done for you. And if you appreciate my content and want to support it, greatly appreciate it. Whether it's liking and sharing videos or going over to kitbadger.com, picking up maybe K-Bat target pads, stickers, patches, stuff along those lines, shirts through Teespring, or if you want to support me directly through Patreon, greatly appreciate all that stuff. Helps me create content for you guys. But as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.